You gonna play the sound? Let us know when we start.
This is the Roundtable Talk podcast, brought to you in part by Rayford Guns, the Hope County edition of the North State Journal, the Libra Initiative of North Carolina, and our flagship station, WCLN Christian 105.7. And now here are your hosts, Ruben Castellon and Chris Holland.
All right. This is Ruben Castellon. Welcome to the Roundtable Talk podcast, and this is episode 147.
Yeah, this is Chris. Good afternoon. A little bit of snafu. We got some new equipment, so we're working out the bugs. Just like, back in the Army days, you get new equipment, they give you 6 months to train up on it.
That's right, if any.
So that's what we got to kind of do.
Well, let me address something real quick, because I know you got more information. But back on December the 11th, which, I think it was just a matter of time when this happened. And I'm referring to the Lumbee tribe. Under Donald Trump's first administration, he indicated that he wanted to recognize the tribe. And it's been going on and off. And on the 11th of December, they were talking about Lumbee tribe poised to gain federal recognition. And if I'm not mistaken, you got an update on that, Chris?
Yeah, so basically the recognition is only a signature away. It took about 137 years when they first filed a petition with the federal government. So I remember back in the 50s, I think it was, they received federal recognition, but they didn't get full consideration, so they didn't get federal benefits of being a federally recognized tribe. So that's what they've done. They've now fully recognized the Lumbee tribe as a native tribe. And so now a reservation can be created in Robinson County, unlocking the potential for legal casinos and marijuana sales in the eastern part of the state, right? It also unlocks millions of dollars in resources for the tribe's members, reportedly around 55,000 to 60,000 people. One interesting side note to all this is the Cherokees, which are the largest Native American tribe
in North Carolina,
east of the Mississippi,
yeah.
Actually, has been lobbying for years against this recognition. They're saying that, they use genealogists and historical records and stuff like that, trying to say that basically the Lumbees were just a conglomerate of different tribes, that they weren't one unified people. But the federal government has overridden that. The Interior Department made the determination that, yes, they are. And so what the Lumbees say about that fight is they say they just descend from multiple bands of Native American tribes, some of whom inhabited the swampy regions of North Carolina for millennia, and then others were pushed into the area by the war and European settlers. And then so by the time of the Civil War in 1860, the Lumbee tribe had kind of coalesced into a tribe, a singular tribe. And then so the tribe's recognition was written into the $901 billion National Defense Authorization Act. I'm one of those kinds that, a bill should be a bill. Glad this happened. Look forward to seeing what's going to come of it. But how does that have to do with national defense? Right? Just we get farm bills with, all kinds of crazy stuff. I mean, bills should pertain to whatever they're working with. But anyway, it's a rider. It got passed. It passed the House last week and the Senate on Wednesday of last week. No, yesterday. Wednesday.
Yeah.
And President Donald Trump is going to sign it into law, which he's expected to do. All right. What a lot of people might not remember is back in 2023, the Republican legislature had tried to authorize casinos in the eastern part of North Carolina, and the idea being that the Lumbee tribe would be, the owners, the managers of those tribes, but that didn't pass. One of the main proponents or arguments was that we were losing revenue to Virginia. I guess Virginia started building a lot of casinos along the border with North Carolina, and the Cherokee tribe is actually partners with some of the casinos up there. So it's kind of a partnership. And so the Republican legislature was like, well, we might as well give us some more casinos down here. But that ultimately failed.
But there's obviously the last stage of this is President Donald J. Trump signing it. It becomes law. So my concern though is that, and I'm sure that they've already thought about this. My concern is that if it's going to be in Robeson, which I'm sure that's where it's going to be at, what are going to be the sectors, left, right, north, south, west, and east? Are people going to lose land because they have to make a reservation? And that's one of the benefits. They get recognized, federally recognized. Then are they going to lobby next to take over a certain piece of land in Robeson County? And how's that going to affect those that have, say for instance, they say in this location we want our reservation here, but 50% of those 5,000 acres is owned by somebody else that are not Native Americans. What's going to happen to the land? Are they going to be bought out? Are they going to just end them in a domain and take over the land? I mean, that's one of the things that I just thought at the top of my head. I said, to me, that would be concerning to that one person or people that are going to be affected by that.
The logistics of implementing a reservation. And so I was thinking about it. I mean, I'm not aware of a large plot of federal land in Robinson County. Now as you move closer to Fort Bragg and then move north, you get, and out here our way, you have a lot of federal property, but Robinson County in particular, I don't know.
Well, does the state have
state land?
Land, or does the county have land that it's going to be donated? I mean, that would be my first thing. That I'm thinking about. The other stuff I'm thinking about. See, this is the problem that I see. I see this problem. There's good things. Don't get me wrong. There's good things that. Pros and cons. One of the things that once they have a reservation, that means that they're going to have their own police force.
Yep.
So they're going to have their own administration. I see that as a plus because you're going to have more work for people. And one of the good things about it is that it does discriminate against people because you have to be native, a certain percentage of that tribe, to be able to be a reservation police officer. They're federal police officers, but so their jurisdiction is there. So I see that those are positive things. The negative things I've never been for is that I think it's politicians just trying to get more money because there's a lot of money to be made. They legalize. They bring in a few casinos. That's a lot of revenue for the state. They legalize marijuana. That's a lot of revenue, but the side effect of those things, the people that become victimized because of this new implemented thing, such as marijuana. Now we have enough research to say that, marijuana is addicting based on all the stuff that they put on there. It's addicting, and Liz, when you become addicted to stuff, you require other things. So
other services.
It's going to be interesting,
Yeah. So this kind of rolled out in phases, with full services extended 3 years after the bill. So, like I said, it's going to take a little while to get all of this stuff in order, all the logistics.
Absolutely.
But after the tribal role is verified, members of the Lumbee tribe can have land placed in a trust, but only if it's in Robeson, Cumberland, Hoke, or Scotland counties, including Fayetteville and areas to the south and east like Lumberton, Pembroke, and Laurinburg. But only land in Robinson County will be treated by the federal government as on reservation.
Mm-hmm.
So the legislation also says that on reservations, tribes can operate legal casinos and marijuana dispensaries like those in Cherokee and Kings Mountain. So, you have the Catawba Indians and the Cherokee Indians over towards the mountains or in the mountains, and they already have reservations. They have
which they've been recognized. They're part of the original 500 tribes.
Right. And then So the Bureau of Indian Affairs says that federal Indian reservations are generally exempt from state jurisdiction, like we were talking about. It's federal police force.
Mm-hmm.
They provide their own emergency services, their own utilities. I mean, it's just basically they're their own nation. You know, the reservation
Yeah.
is the nation of Lumbee. I would look some comments on Facebook, and there was people that were saying, "Hey, you know, I moved away from the area. How do I make sure I'm on the on the rolls and stuff like that?" So there again, the logistics of it. You know, the tribe itself is going to go through a lot of administrative
Absolutely.
procedures, a lot of stuff to try to verify who's actually eligible. You know, and stuff like that. And then I also, it was a comment about the Lumber River. They're like, oh, maybe they'll rename the Lumber River to its proper name, the Lumbee River. Like, I don't know. I don't know the history of the river.
Well, you
why
know,
it's one and not the other.
there's a lot of benefits to be had. It's my understanding, of course, I've never verified that, but this is based on information I obtained in the past. Is my understanding that once you get federally recognized and you can prove that you belong to that tribe and you live in the reservation, and this is the one thing I don't like, you basically live off the state or the federal. You get designated a lot. You can live there, but then you get a monthly check and everything. So those are sort of plus to me, but they're negative because when you become dependent on the federal government, what's the incentive of improvement? And let's be real. Casinos, the customer's not benefiting.
Right.
The people.
Well, I think that out here is a little bit different than what you typically see out west. So out west, the reservations, unfairly, were the land nobody wanted to settle.
Yeah.
They basically, the deserts,
Yeah.
The high plains, nobody want, and those places haven't grown
Yeah.
in the generations since. So, you're kind of landlocked or you're kind of job locked. You're there, that's all you have. I believe here that even though you will get federal monies or benefits or whatever, there's still the opportunity for jobs.
Yeah.
I don't think that a lot of them, I don't think the majority of people, now that they get a check, they're going to say, I'm going to quit my job and just live off my check. Most people, I believe, most people will continue their employment, they'll, their self-betterment. I believe that'll happen. I don't think it's going to be that big of a problem.
I mean, I hope not, because there's obviously for every decision or every law the federal government implements, we don't know the effects of it for years to come. And I'm not saying that this is a bad thing. I think since I've been here, since I can remember, the Lumbee tribe has been pushing for this.
Yeah.
Since
1888.
Yeah, they've been pushing for this, and so I'm glad. I'm sure, because that's one of the Trump's thing when he came here to Lumberton. He said that he would recognize them, and it looks like they're going to finally be recognized. So no longer are we going to have 500 tribes. There's going to be 501.
501.
Yeah, 501 tribes.
I wonder kind of the history of, are there other tribes identifying out there that aren't federally recognized? I don't know.
There's
just
only
'cause we live
500.
here,
Now there's 501.
Yeah, but now, living here in
More
North
words to
Carolina, you kind of
You know what?
exposed to that.
Congratulations. I forgot to say this, but I first learned about this on the North State Journal Hope County edition. Perhaps one of the best newspaper when they get nothing but the facts on here. So I congratulations. I know many Lumbee, especially men, and they're good people. They're the ones I know are very hardworking. Many of them have small businesses.
Small business.
And
that was my point.
Yeah, and
I don't think a lot of people are just.
Yeah, and they're mainly a lot of farmers, and so I think it's a wonderful thing for those. And I just hope everything works out for the best. But like I said, my biggest concern is that, well, if they're going to have a reservation, who's going to get gobbled up?
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing, whether it's going to be state land, federal land, or whatever. But yes, the eminent domain.
Yeah.
If the
Yeah.
state says this is where
Yeah,
we're gonna do it.
this is what's going to be
Yeah.
at.
I don't know. But,
We're gonna find out.
So the political aspects of it. So a lot of people, I don't know if you know, but Jared Lowry was a representative out of Robinson County,
Mm-hmm.
and his brother John is the tribal chief,
Mm-hmm.
has been for a little while, and so Jared resigned his state representative seat to move up and work on the Interior Department of Interior for the federal government. His brother John was picked. You know, there's a lot of people don't know, if somebody resigns, dies, gets removed for office for whatever reason, and it's a partisan position, then the political party nominates the replacement. You know, at the state level, then the board has the legislature has to vote on it.
Right.
But the first picks are from the political party.
That's right.
So the NCGOP said, "Hey, John, you're our nominee to take over your brother's spot," and so now he's running for re-election. But there was another thing on Facebook. Somebody was asking, well, how can he be the Lumbee tribe chief and elected to the state representative? And so I looked into that, and basically what it is you cannot be dual-hatted. You can't have two positions in any of the government that's formed by the state Constitution. The Lumbee Tribal Council
That's not
is
a
not
state.
a state
It's not a state.
a state entity. It's a private, you know, I don't want to say, I don't know, it's a community,
Yeah.
you know.
It's a different.
represent-
It's
like
a different
board.
entity. It falls under different laws.
Right, it's a
federal
different law.
laws. You know.
So that's the case of that he can continue to do both. I don't know that he will. Haven't heard anything either way. But, you know, it is legitimate because people, you know how people are on Facebook. They're always blah, 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 this and that.
Social warriors.
You have to do this or that. So he can maintain both positions. And then, so I just wanted to say congratulations. Ruben was elected chairman of the board at the last school board meeting.
By the majority.
By the majority. Well, that's how it happens. The ones with the most votes get the position, right? But, yeah, so he's going to be the chairman through this 2026.
For the next 11 months.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so just congratulations. I know it's kind of difficult. I know that you were the chair of the policy committee. Are you going to retain that chair as well? Or
You know,
do you have to-
we haven't discussed that, but you know, I'm open to, you know, the wishes of the board.
Yeah.
Obviously, you know, at the end of the day, what people don't understand is that every board member, regardless of their position or I should say their title, at the end, it's only each individual board member retains one vote.
Right.
And obviously, the majority rules on any topic. When you know there's 5 of us, so that means that the majority is 3. So yeah, I haven't.
I was just wondering because I was reading somewhere, and I don't remember if it was ordinance, rules, or statute, but basically the chairman of the board is de facto member of any committee that the board
Yeah.
has.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if that, like I said, does that conflict being the chairman of both? Or
Well,
do you have to,
it doesn't say it does. So.
right. Well, I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I didn't know if you had any insight.
It doesn't say it does, you know, and I can tell you this right now. This is the first committee that the district has ever had by the board. So I think it's still early, and we'll see what happens. What happens next? You know, it's.
So as far as the policy committee, I mean, it's been stood up since your first year.
No,
in
no,
office, or
no,
the second
no.
year.
I think it was the second year. I think it was the second. I think it was the second year. It was not, because I remember when I first got in. I collaborated with other board members, and I was able to get what is called a working meeting. It was
Right.
I forget what it was. I think it's a week or two before the monthly meeting.
I remember that y'all had two
and
meetings a month.
and it started with good intent, but then it became too tedious because there was more work being piled on, and I remember we were reviewing policies, and we were doing everything else on top of that. And I remember leaving at times at 11:30 at night. And that was exhausting. Most of the board members, if I'm not mistaken, have full-time jobs. I mean, I know I do.
Right.
And so, when you have a meeting and you're leaving out of there at 11 p.m. at 11:30 p.m. and then you got to get up at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
So the majority rule. There was a motion that got brought up to stop the working meeting, and the majority ruled. I was against it. I was a no.
So you wanted to keep the working
I wanted to keep it, but then that's when I started addressing the policy committee, and we voted on it. I want to say that everybody voted for it. I don't remember anybody.
So the history is you used to have a separate meeting. And
Yeah, it was
all
a
five
work-
board members were there to review
Yes,
these policies.
that was required.
And then it became too much, and
yeah.
the board said, wait a minute, why don't we make this a committee?
Yeah.
And then you take on the responsibility. The members of this committee take on this
I
responsibility.
mean, what people don't understand is people also gotta realize is that when the board has a meeting of the board, like the working meeting before the monthly meeting, that was for all intents and purposes it was a regular meeting, but it was called a working meeting. It was basically in preparation of the monthly meeting.
right.
And what people didn't understand is that it wasn't just the board members; it was the entire staff. And so, of course, the staff is getting paid salary, so that's irrelevant. But it wasn't just the board members; it was
You're affecting a lot of people.
it was
There
it
were
was
a lot of
affecting
people.
a lot of people, and so reflecting back, it was a good decision, and I was more concerned with the policies, because anybody that follows the school district, and this is not something nothing bad or good. You can just take it for what it is. But there was a dire need to have a policy committee because there were policies have never been revised, and when in an agency, college, those that are in the military, you got what is called SOPs.
Right.
So policies are an accumulation of rules
SOPs,
and laws. A lot of them are laws. And so when you don't have these updates and something happens, you get challenged and you compromise the board and the school district because you're not following the most updated policies.
Yeah, exactly.
And a lot of the stuff is being pushed from the state down. And so it was not a good reflection. Of course, this is just my personal opinion based on what I know. I'm in the trenches with this stuff. So I think all in all, it's pretty good. And
I know y'all had a lot of work when the Parents' Bill of Rights was passed in
oh
the
my!
legislature.
We were one of the very first. That's and of course, you got to give also credit where credit is due. Of course. We have a great superintendent because they're the ones that receive the stuff first. They keep us abreast of everything that is coming down the pipe, and we were one of the very first county districts, school districts, to implement everything that needed to be implemented because they were given a date. the school district was not one of the school districts in the state of North Carolina that were bucking the system. No, we're not going to do this. But this is the law.
Right.
You
So it's pretty easy. Just go through what you already have, and then adjust to reflect
adjust
the new law.
reflect. And the beautiful thing about it is that the local boards don't have to do a lot of work because the state the state it's the North Carolina State Board School Board Association. They have nothing but lawyers, and if you're a member of that, which the board is, they got lawyers, and they modify all these, and they push them to you, and you look, you verify, everything good, boom, the board votes on it. So it's not like we have to do all the work,
Right.
But it had policies have to be reviewed to make sure that
they're up to date.
They
incorporate the laws that have been passed.
I was really in disbelief when I started getting involved and I started looking. I think one of the oldest policies that had never been reviewed, I want to say it was 1996. And so I do believe to this, based on everything that I know as the board member, as a board, that to me, based on how I read the general statute that is applicable to the board members, is that your two sole responsibilities, the meat and potato for it to function properly, is only two things: hire a qualified superintendent to be the CEO of the school district, and maintain policies,
which are his tools.
Yes, and if you hire a qualified superintendent, but your policies are not up to date, and you're not willing to update them, then you're setting up the school district for failure. So So
I got you. All right. Well, like I said, I've seen the work of it, and it's something that's needed. As you identified earlier, that some of these policies, there was just a memo from the state saying do this, and nothing was ever done. So it's long overdue, and hopefully that this work will carry on, and we make sure that our policies are up to date with the state standards. So I think we're about ready to roll into events. So tomorrow night, 4:30 to 8:30, tomorrow evening, at Brownie's U-Haul Flea Market, the Rockfish Chamber, the Hope County GOP, and Rockfish Flea Market are hosting an old-fashioned Christmas. There will be soup, hot chocolate bar. There's going to be cakes. There's going to be a decorating table. Kids can use crafts, do crafts, and make decorations and stuff. There'll be a Santa Claus. There'll be some candies and treats for the kids, stuff like that. So come out. Bring your kids out, like I said, get some hot chocolate, take a picture with Santa Claus, and then do some last-minute shopping there at the flea market. There'll be some vendors there. I think there's 5 or 6 right now, different crafts and, homemade goods stuff, vendors like that'll be there. But that's at 4:30 to 8:30. And then if you are considering running in 2026, tomorrow at noon is the deadline for filing of your candidacy.
And you have the positions that are locally are county commissioners, I believe,
school board,
three
clerk of court.
3%. No, the school board is not until next year.
That's 2026.
No, but we don't file now.
No, right. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You're correct.
Yeah.
Next year's elections will be the school board of commissioners and the clerk of court.
And the reason why people always ask why, and it's because the school board is nonpartisan.
Right.
So,
there is no requirement for a primary.
There's no. But you got the sheriff, and you got county commissioners. I believe it's 3 positions.
Yep.
The one that I have not heard, but he's got to noon. Is Alan Thomas. As of today, I don't think he's filed yet. I'm kind of surprised.
I don't know. I've been getting emails from the Board of Elections, and I hadn't seen his name, but I hadn't looked today either. So maybe he's going to make a thing of it tomorrow.
I mean, we'll see, but we'll see what's going to happen.
You can count him out. I don't think. I think he'll be there by noontime.
Well, by tomorrow, we're gonna know for sure.
We'll know for sure.
We're gonna know for sure.
All right, so as we introduced in our last program, we're going to talk about Revolutionary War milestones rolling up to the 250th celebration of the founding of the nation. What I want to talk about right now is in December of 1775, during the Battle of Quebec, American Continental Army led by Richard Montgomery was defeated while they were trying to take the British stronghold, and General Montgomery is killed, and Benedict Arnold, we all know who that guy is. He was a general in the Continental Army, but he was injured during that battle as well. Just a quick wrap: Montgomery, he invaded Canada as part of the expedition against the British. He captured Fort Chambly, which is a small outpost of British that was actually commanded by his former commanding officer. So 3 years prior, the guy that commanded this fort that he captured was his commanding officer in the British Army. You know, so that's what a lot of people, you know, we call it the Revolutionary War because that's what we did. We revolted against the crown. However, you got to, in context, it was a civil war.
Yeah.
It was British subjects.
Yeah.
Some of them were saying we're no longer going to be British subjects, and some of them are saying that we are. And then you had the British regulars,
That's
you know,
right.
the actual army. But anyway, he did that, and then on November 13th, he captured Montreal after negotiations, took their ships, and sailed down to Quebec. And then on December 31st, he was killed by cannon grape shot while leading his men in an attack on a British position outside of Quebec. And this is notable why I mentioned about his former commander and all of this. General Carleton, who was commanding or defending Quebec, actually said that he was a well-respected man and that Carleton ordered that he be buried with dignity but with not too much fanfare. So, you know, like I said, these people were brothers. They were fellow soldiers at that previously, so they still had a lot of respect for each other. And it just kind of shows you that, you know, it took a lot to stand up and say, I'm not going to be British anymore, and then fight those people that were still wanting to be.
Yeah.
So it's important. You know, we got 250 years. Hope we do another 250.
Another 1,000 years. But, you know, something I forgot to mention is that, and to me, I think this is a wonderful thing. The House of Representatives at the federal level, I want to say it was yesterday or 2 days ago, they passed a bill. It still has to go it probably already went to the Senate, and I'm sure it should pass at the Senate. But the bill, the bottom line, it indicates that it's going to be a felony for any doctor to do surgery on minors to transition to something they will really never be.
Right.
So I find that a wonderful thing, but you know, because as we know, once you mutilate your body,
can't go back.
You can't get it back. And so I think that's a wonderful thing. So anyways, is there anything
stay tuned. We're going to be back on January 8th. We're working on a special edition where we're going to have 2 episodes on that day. We're going to talk to some local candidates. Remember that January 12th, absentee ballots go out. So if you're registering to vote by mail, get those registrations in. I think it's February 3rd or 4th is the deadline for that. But the ones that are already registered, the ballots start going out on the 12th. So it's right around the corner, and we're going to have a fun year. I think it's going to be a highly
And you know,
election.
you remember we talked about this, because I actually reached out to some. Okay, while many people know that we are a conservative podcast, our limit is not just for Republican candidates. This is a voice for Hope County, and so if you are a Democrat, you're invited. Just reach out to us. And lastly, on my side, the one thing I want to say is something that I ran into the Voices of Hope Facebook page. Did you know that there is a organization that wants to siphon, that's for suck, millions of water from a river that comes through many counties. Polk County is one, and diverted to another location, and that can have major implications for Polk County. So I'm wondering if the county commissioners know about this.
Yeah, it was primarily going to affect Fayetteville, and I believe that the city council has already voted that down.
Okay.
Don't quote me on that.
Okay.
But
So
I
you know
read-
what I'm talking
yeah,
about then.
Yeah. But so yeah, that's something that it's the Cape Fear River Basin, and they're gonna be fighting it out.
Okay,
Primarily.
okay.
But I think Fayetteville's already put a
Okay.
kibosh on that for now. But lawsuits and everything else.
So anyways, Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and we will see you next year.
Getting to the facts across the state, around the world, and at home in Rayford, North Carolina. The Roundtable Talk Podcast. Brought to you in part by Rayford Guns, the Hope County edition of the North State Journal, the Libra Initiative of North Carolina, and our flagship station, WCLN Christian 105.7. Be sure to like, share, and leave a review wherever you listen to podcasts. The Roundtable Talk Podcast.